be launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Thursday, May 19th, 2022. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. As far as I know, I don't think we've talked about the Vancouver Pro on here recently, which is good because it gives us the perfect segue into a segment with Iain Valliere. According to reports, Iain is targeting Vancouver as a potential landing spot for his season debut. The last time Iain competed in Vancouver was back in 2019 when he placed fourth in a lineup that featured Hadi Choopan, Nathan Diasha, and Lucas Osadol back when he was still at the peak of his powers. But comparing Iain then to Iain now is like day and night because 2022 Iain is going to be a completely different animal. Now he's established himself as a top-tier talent in bodybuilding, and he's coming off a season that saw him end the year with a top 10 finish at the Olympia. So if he shows up and does exactly what he's done for the better part of the last 2 years by completely overwhelming people with his size and conditioning, then this one might already be in the books because it's hard to slow down a train once it gets rolling. As of this morning, I believe we're about 48 hours away from finally kicking off the action at this weekend's New York Pro. And at the moment, it looks like we're still on track to see Petar Klančir make his return to an IFBB stage. As some of you already may know, Petar was initially scheduled to compete at the Indy Pro last weekend, where some people were pegging him as a dark horse top 3 contender. But some unexpected visa issues at the last minute prevented him from being able to travel to the States. The latest word coming from Petar's camp was that everything is on track for him to touch down here early in the week, so he had enough time to make his final preparations. So if he can come in and hit the ground running, he's someone you might want to keep an eye on as a potential disruptor who can end up working his way into a top 5 conversation. If you're planning to tune in for the men's physique action at the New York Pro this weekend, and you're looking for potential disruptors to knock off Sadiq Hadzovic, who seems like an early favorite at this point, then the conversation might need to begin and end with Kyron Holden, because it looks like he's a man on a mission right now. Kyron closed out the year with a really strong 4th place finish at the Olympia, and there seems to be a lot of optimism coming from his camp right now about him being able to step in and pick up where he left off this weekend. Even though he doesn't get mentioned as much as some of the other top names in the division, if you go back and look at what he's done over the last 2 or 3 seasons, his resume is as good as anyone's. And if he shows up at the top of his game, there might not be anyone else in that lineup who can touch him. You guys better mark this one down on your calendars because I can't even begin to tell you when the last time we had a Markus Rühl sighting on Muscle in the Morning. Now, if you're relatively new to bodybuilding, you might never even have heard of Markus Rühl, so these photos of him linking up with classic physique superstar in the making Urs Kalecinski might not mean anything to you, but trust me when I tell you that Markus was the next level freak who terrorized anyone on stage when he was at the peak of his powers back in the 2000s. So to see him taking on the role of mentoring someone like Urs, who still hasn't even begun to hit his prime yet, has to make you smile if you're a bodybuilding fan of a certain age, because Markus's profile would have been out of control if he had come up in the era of social media. So for our sake, I hope we see Urs continue to climb the ladder in the division, because if that means we're going to see more of Markus Rühl making himself present on the scene again, then it feels like a win-win for everyone. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.